know, it's one of those things where I was just walking down in front of Berklee one night and saw the sign. There was a performance by Olivia Pérez-Collellmir, and I walked in, and it was just a captivating night. It was just enchanting and wonderful and exciting. And I thought, oh my God, I got to find out more about this woman. And I'm so pleased that she's able to and willing to help us tonight. She's been very busy. In fact, I know she's been the last 5 days in the studio, and all of the rest of us were out having fun and celebrating Memorial Day. She was working hard on her next album, and she's also been very busy with auditions right now. She's, I believe you audition people entering the trying to gain access to Berklee. Is that what you're doing? So I thought maybe before we actually start the official interview, if you'd like to play a little something of yours, just to give us a taste for your unique blend of music, which I think is quite fascinating.
Yeah, of course. Hello, everybody. I'm very pleased to be here and very happy. Thank you so much, Andrew, for the opportunity for Jen's community, and as well, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. So I would love, yeah, of course, as we said, like Olivia Pérez-Collellmir, I am from Barcelona, so I'm Catalan and Spanish, but I do live in Boston. It's my home base because I am, a faculty member in the piano department as well in the ensemble department. So most of the time I am here in Boston base, and after the pandemic or during the pandemic, most of the time. But yes, I've been the last 5 days in the studio. We have been doing the pre-production of the first album, debut, and that we're going to be recording in October. So we are very excited. We have been with the whole team here. It's like I'm leaving the cave right now. Today is my first day. But yeah, Andrea, I would love to share with you, start like an intro with one of my pieces. Is an arrangement of an original song by Frederic Mompou. Frederic Mompou is a composer that died in the 1980s in Barcelona. And for us, it's considered our Debussy, Ravel, Satie from the Catalan and Spanish culture. So the textures are very minimalism. The sound is very, based on small layers, but very like representing the sounds of the nature, the sounds, the dropping water, the sound of the wind, all these colors, the super powerful colors. And so I took one of those melodies, folkloric melodies, and I did the arrangement into a tangos flamenco. And that is the arrangement that it was produced by Berklee and was recorded by Berklee. So I would love to start with that. There is a surprise towards the end. So tangos a Mompou. Let's go. Let me move towards to the end when we have the other part that is the surprise. Okay. yeah, that it will be. I hope that you like it.
Mesmerizing. Oh my God. By the way,
That,
is that a flamenco dancer strictly Spanish? She almost looked like she had a little bit of Chinese in her, or Asian in her. Is that possible?
yeah, she's originally from Japan, but
Uh-huh.
she spent all her life living in Spain and also
Wow.
in Boston. Yeah.
That was a workout right there. I just
Yeah.
to see it. That was incredible. And I'm sure
Thank
seeing
you.
it live would have been even more amazing. So tell me about you've had a very interesting childhood too. I understand that you uh, well, why don't you tell us as an audience how you started out in the world of music. I always like to explore, how people were exposed to music, how you decided to, become a musician and dedicate your life to it. Was there a seminal moment in your life where something happened that you said, "Oh, I'm definitely going to be a musician"? Was there musicianship in your family? So what's the background? Give us a little bit of a history there.
Wow, it's a very good question. I mean, I've been playing since I was 4 or 5 years old, and the music has been part of my of my being. So at that age, I was called from from very important maestros that I had already, in the Conservatory Barcelona. So I studied in the National Conservatory in Barcelona, the public national conservatory that it was the best, one of the best in Europe. And I, kind of just fall into that path. And I got a lot of opportunities to work with some of the best maestros in every, different autos, for example, in Beethoven or in Granados, in Albéniz, Falla music, Spanish music, but as well in Bach. So I was enjoying a lot. But of course, I was just keeping my, primary school and then high school. But I was kind of, doing both things at the same time at a very intense level, my musicianship, but I was keeping my, my regular school. And then when it was about, that to take the decision, I wasn't ready to take the decision being exclusive because I didn't want to be exclusive because I love to do several things. And I did say, okay, I'm going to be a concerto piano classic. And at the time, it was my full focus. But at the same time, I want to study philosophy, and I did study philosophy in the University in Barcelona. So my schedule was kind of crazy. In the morning, I was in the University of Barcelona studying philosophy. In the afternoon, I was full time in the conservatory. And everybody was looking at me like, oh, you're not really a philosopher. And everybody in the conservatory, you're not really a musician, right? Because if you don't spend an hour doing one unique thing, it's always a problem. But no, I don't see that as a problem. I see that as a richness. And I think it's one of the big definitions of my personality. I haven't choose only one thing. I've been putting different things together that I feel extremely passionate. But of course, it's true that arrives one moment that is a world so specialized that you need to make a big decision. But I wasn't ready to make that decision at 16 years old. They told me, go to London, right, to the Royal College and just concerto piano with orchestra. I said, no, 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 I want to live in Barcelona. I love Barcelona. I want to finish my high school and I want to study philosophy here with my friends and do, I keep classical concerto piano in the conservatory at Barcelona. And I did that. So when I finished is when I made the decision. But in the time I discovered jazz during my 20s after, and then I said, oh, I really want to study jazz. And then I went back to the conservatory and I studied a second degree as a musician, the third degree at the time, and that it was as a jazz performer. So my friends, they just laugh because I think they say, you are like, how many degrees I have? I think I have 5 or 6. I don't know exactly, but yeah. So I did come back, and then I did study when I was in my 20s, jazz performance as well in Barcelona, in Spain. In that this one, it was in the Conservatory of Liceu, and then I did apply for Berklee, and then I study as well at Berklee, dual major. But I knew that I needed. I think that everybody that we are in the museum field, we know that we receive that call and we need to make music to breathe. It's part of us. When I don't play, when I don't compose, I'm sad.
Mm.
I'm sad and my energy is down. And my people say, "What's happening, Olivia?" I don't know, weird. And it's just because it's the way that I express myself. You can
Yes.
see this is my home, and I have drums. I have
Yes.
this is the keyboard, the synthesizer, right? The one that I do, controller with the softwares, the production softwares in the computer. This is a like a keyboard, sounds natural keyboard, and then I have cajon players, more midis, and my grand piano is outside. So I am like a kid. I go from one instrument to the other, right? Playing, oh, that idea, and just writing and then playing. I need for being happy. And when everybody see that, and you see that everybody else, oh, let's go to a party, let's go to, a trip, and you say, no, I would rather to be at home, it compose it. I had this idea, and then I play until that looks amazing or sounds amazing to you, and you make huge sacrifice because it's about sacrifice, right? When
So
everybody,
Olivia, I think if you're like me, if there's a heaven and you go to heaven, when you go to heaven, and they said you could either be on this wonderful beach and just drink all day and read and hang out, or you can be in this little room with a piano. You would probably, like me, say, give me the little room with the piano, because I would be in heaven in a
yeah,
little room with the piano and nothing else to worry about or do. I think that would be, that is the way I feel too. Now, I didn't realize you also majored in philosophy. Do you
yeah.
think that's
Actually,
affected?
I did a PhD. I didn't finish the thesis, but I did the PhD as well as a philosophy.
Do you think that influences you in some capacity in your music in some way? Or was that
Sorry,
just a,
I did lost the question. Sorry.
is your degree or your studies in philosophy, does that in any way inform your music? Does it affect you at all
Yeah.
in terms of how you approach music?
All these personalities, all my studies, our
Mm.
research are the person that I am, right? So when
Wow.
I have both sides, right? At one side, very mathematical. I did the
Mm.
study in philosophy, the specialty in mathematics.
Ah.
So, I love logics and, do formulas. And so I do that. I do apply that to my improvisation skills. Actually, I do a method in that board that I have there, and I write every week the pattern I'm going to be playing, like a one up there, a fifth up, and then a fifth down, all the combinations that the sound can have in a mathematical way.
Huh.
A formula. Even with the scales, I say, okay, I'm going to go to play with the mode, the Dorian mode. Okay, which combination? Let's go to open this interval, right? So it's a mathematic, and let's go to see how it sounds, that mathematic interval.
Mm.
So there is a whole side like that, but as well, I am very, I study philosophy, that part of like a tragedy, Platon, I love Platon, and all the power of the tragedy, the Athens tragedy. My mom is a professor of ancient Greek and Roman, so Latin, and so that is part. Actually, my name is coming from that. Olivia is from the olive of the Apollos in the mythology, right?
Huh.
Of the wars of Peloponnese wars. So this is my sister is called Delia from Delos, the island, right? So has been a very intellectual family. My father, he was, is an architect and a writer as well. So everything has been, printed. And yeah, so I feel like both sides. I have the intellectual, like a mathematics side, and I have the passion. I am from Spain. I mean, this is, you can see the way that they talk. The passion is through our veins, and it's part of
Yeah,
our culture, our weather, our food, our
exactly.
social skills.
Thank you.
And
Great.
I live with passion. I need to feel passion in everything I do. This is why the sacrifice doesn't sounds that tough, right? When you spend 20 hours in a row studying, and everybody else is in a party or in the Caribbean, in a
Right.
trip,
Right.
don't see that as a sacrifice because you have so much passion that you want to do this. That is the point.
Now,
And then this is why I decided to do music, because I said, well, if it's the only thing that allows me to choose to be as a nerd instead of being in a party, the Spaniards, is because it's my path, it's my love, my biggest love. And this is
let's
why.
talk about your composing too. When did you start doing composition? Did you do that fairly young, or did you do that starting in college, or when did you get the composition bug?
Yeah, so actually, I do have to thank the composition side to Berklee completely, especially a professor called Marty Epstein. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Marty Epstein is one of the biggest composers that
Mhm.
alive, and she's currently with the Guggenheim Fellowship, and one of the most awarded composers. So in Spain, unfortunately, everything is a little bit separate, isolated, one track. You are a conductor. Okay, just conductor. Just compose it. Just compose performance. And don't even dare to move. So when I came to Berklee, said, get a baton. I said, me? I don't know how to use the baton. I said, oh no, you're a musician. So just stop having those boxes. You have everything to learn, no? And I said, oh, wow, and I love it, the spectrum, right? So Berklee shake me in a way that you're a musician there and believe on you and start composing the way that you feel. So everything I was doing with my piano and with my friends, Berklee said, no, this is good enough. Write it down. I said, are you serious? I thought I was doing because I need it, but on my own with my people,
Yes.
you need to write it down. So I started presenting those in contests at Berklee, and they got awarded. I said maybe they are not bad, right?
Not
So
bad, but great. Let's hear another one of your compositions. What would you like to play for us next?
yeah, maybe we should do together the Indian.
Yes.
Perfect. So let me introduce a little bit. Together, it was one of the weirdest compositions that I was doing when I was a Berklee student, and then they wanted, it was a contest of composers, women composer, right? So encouraged by my professors, they say, Olivia, yeah, present your application and write it down. I said, are you sure? Yeah, okay. And in that time, one of my best friends, he was from India. So I said, hey, let's go. I love the multiculturality and multi-genre. And I feel that, so rich. And I did research through my friend. Oh, show me the music, how it works, these microtonas, how does it work, the tabla, the instrument, the sitar. And she wrote a poem very typical in her town and said, okay, which music we should put here? And I did write the music, and she wrote a poem after a long, extensive time of research of that music. And then it sounds like Indian and Spanish. So I'm going to show both versions. One, the original one that I applied when I was a student, and the other is the orchestrating section that I did write for the last show that we did the last year before the lockdown, and we presented in the BPC, Berklee Performance Center, and got completely sold out. So you can see the both ways to write. So to write for the ensemble that we had. So let's go together. It's called. Let's go to start with the version, the original version. So here we have the tablas. All the members except the bassist are original from India, and the singer, and then you will see the sitar. All of us, we were students at Berklee at that time. This is the original one. This is the ensemble original, me and the piano and writing. The singer was the one that created the poem that is at the beginning, that we are going to listen in the next version as well. The tablas, and then the basses and the sitar. So now the orchestration arrangement that we did in the show that I did produce the last year is this one by different players, because they were in different parts of the world and the previous ones. But let's go here.
सुना
far. Here it will be a good spot to stop.
I have to tell you, I literally had goosebumps listening to that. That was just amazing. It just,
oh, thank you so much.
Oh my God. And a tear in my eye. That's so moving.
Oh,
it's really
thank
impressive. You. Yeah.
Emotional side of me, you can see the, the mathematical, but it's more like an emotion. Really, I don't, everything when you are writing, no, in the moment. So always has to be something that is very inside of my heart. Really, really, that makes me feel very intensive. Or because of happiness or sadness or something that is moving through my
Now tell me about the orchestration itself. Did you have an orchestrator do that with you, or is that all done by you, or how's that done?
Yeah, so when you produce a show, I was the music director and the music artistic of the whole show, of course, yes. And we are producing 70 musicians, right? So of course, I will be 3 years non-stop working if I will be doing only myself, so it's not possible. But
yes.
I kind of like choose my team, and we did audition, but also my people, and specifically the arranger, the orchestrator that that you want to get that color, specifically color that they put
right.
that in as an author as well, and then I invited a specific orchestrator to do that piece in concrete and all the other pieces, and then it's like a collaboration, co-orchestrated, because of course then you review and say yes this or yes not, it's going to change the section. But yes, it's like a team of orchestrators and arrangers.
Now what I love about this is, were all these people folks that you met through Berklee?
Yeah, actually what the previous one, all of us, we were students at that time, and the ones that you see, I'm the professor of the ensemble. So all the ones that you saw it's not like I have 70 students at the same time. So from that, like maybe 20 are my students, like weekly students, and the other they were students at Berklee that they were applying for being part of the show. So one of the things amazing about Berklee, you can apply for being in all the shows that we are producing, and then they get the audition, and if they are super good, they are inside. So it's like we get, they get the opportunity to be, and then start the whole system of rehearsals, that work very hard, but they are very committed. And so in that orchestra, you have students from Berklee, you have alumni, right? And then as well faculty members, and Berklee Conservatory and Boston Conservatory. So it's like everybody involved. So
it's just wonderful to get all these people together and put together this amazing piece of music that would not have happened otherwise. It's quite an amazing feat, and you must be so proud of it. I mean, if I had composed something like that, I would just basically, okay, now I can just die because I'm done, you know, because I've done the ultimate thing. So really wonderful. Now, you know, you talked briefly about how you worked for you studied under some pretty amazing people, but I want to explore that a little more because I think you told me earlier, we didn't talk about it today, but you actually, you know, some of your teachers were either directly from the lineage of Fauré
Yeah.
so, and you even had some lineage maybe up to Chopin too, I think. You had some
Yeah,
really
correct.
amazing teachers. So that had to be something. And
Yeah, so in a conservatory in Barcelona, where I did study most of my classical career, and then I went, you know, Switzerland, Italy. Was also under the tutelage of Russian school Ilse Graubin as well. But my main mentor, it was Nuria Boneis in the time, and Nuria Boneis, it was part of the team of Alicia La Rocha. It was one of the main disciples of Alicia La Rocha. Is considered one of the 10 pianists more important in the current century, in the 20th century. So that opened me, you know, I had the, you know, all the music scores annotated by Alicia La Rocha. Here, play here. No, this pedal, all the annotations. And then Nuria Boneis, it was, you know, the main disciple of Alicia La Rocha. Alicia La Rocha is all that, it was all the time around in the time in the conservatory. But as well, Nuria Boneis was a student of Monique de Chaussee. Monique de Chaussee was a professor, one of the most important methodology pianists in the 20th century, Monique de Chaussee, and she was a professor in the Paris Conservatory at the same time that Fauré, and she was a student and collaborated of Fauré, and so it's Fauré, you know, and Ravel, and of course, and then Monique de Chaussee was also a collaborator of the second generation of Chopin disciples. Yes.
And so not only do you use all this wonderful background to inform the work you do, but you do composing, but you also do arranging of famous pieces too, which I don't think we'll do many of those today, but for those that are interested, just go on YouTube and find these wonderful things you do with Mompou and just really wonderful work. So fascinating stuff. And I'm just also fascinated by the fact that you've crossed the line from classical to jazz. Not everyone does that. I think there are some classical people that are pure classical to the point, and they not even, you know, I know some really amazing classical pianists that are not even aware necessarily what the chord structure is. I mean, they are just amazing and they do it beautifully. To take music and basically represent it in its most human and best organic and just informed, just wonderful interpretation. But they don't understand, they wouldn't be able to improvise, you know, if they forgot a measure and had to improvise something, that they wouldn't do that. So, you know, in the jazz world, you have to be very conscious of not only the key signature, but the key and the modality, you know, are you in, you know, are you in a Ionian scale or whatever? So you cross that barrier. You've basically been able to do all of it. And then on top of that, you compose. So, I mean, which is just a whole nother level. And now I'm hearing that you also do things mathematically. I'm fascinated by that. I don't know if you have time today to show us an example of how you took a mathematical insight and turned it into, you know, a piece of music. But if you do have time, I'd love to, with one of your pieces, I'd love to see a little bit more about how you actually think about it musically, or how you write the melody line, or the way you think about composing it. If you can share some of that with us, maybe on one of your pieces coming up, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, totally. I did cross the line. So people, yeah, exactly. So, but it's part of my personality, is what we said, right? So when early in when I was teenagers, they say no, focus like a full-time concerto classic piano, right? And go to London to the Royal. And I said no, I don't want to keep studying here and study philosophy. So it's like I think that both worlds, or in this case, classical and jazz, they are feeding each other, right? So, and yeah, I think it's a huge lack of, you know, in the methodology of how to teach classical, in how to approach exactly the chords. So most of the people, when they come to us, you know, and at the beginning, when I was pure classical, I never studied jazz. I didn't know how to improvise. I didn't know in which mode I was. I didn't know the color of the chord, and it was like an alien, completely an alien. And it was very common. All of us, we were in the same situation, and we are seeing this every day. You know, I have students at Berklee they're coming from Russia or where any place, or France, Spain, Asia. They're coming from a super strict, like a classical train, and they don't know how to play at all any chord. So we start from zero. So they have excellent technique, or we had, right? So in my case, when I started, so we have excellent technique, but no knowledge about harmony, no knowledge of how to build, compose, and to create and improvise. That's freedom. So in that case, is what gave me the jazz, right? Seeing the colors or the melody from another completely perspective, always thinking about what is the harmony that is behind, right? And how many textures we can create from that. And so I think both, I think it should be mandatory if somebody wants to really be a strong musician or loves the music, to study both the technique of the classic that gives you the repertoire, some the biggest composers in the history, right? And the tribute, and being able to study their work.
Exactly.
Being able to study all the jazz, as make you free. You are taking that from the score and say, okay, what can I do with my own personality? Because there is any limitation. What are you going to be always playing the score the way that it is? It's great, but there is something else.
So tell me something about who influenced you both in the composer world. What composers influenced you the most, do you think, in both the classical world and also in jazz?
In classical world, definitely Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, definitely.
Yeah.
And all the impressionisms. And of course, Satie, Ravel, Debussy, and Mompou, it will be the huge name. And I will add as well, so like a more composers like a Ginastera, Villalobos, that they are connected with Catalonia and Latin America. But yes, this could be the every, and of course the Spanish music like Granados, Albéniz, Falla, of course everything that is related with my ancestors, the way that I've been, I did learn the piano through them. But in a jazz world, absolutely Miles Davis, sorry, and Thelonious Monk. So are the two more like a more reference for me. Like for example, Ramin Night. I do use Ramin Night completely, or sometimes in a ballet way, sometimes more into flamenco way, sometimes into. So I think that Monk is one of the biggest composers in the jazz, and for me it's the ones that But everything, I think that based on some people, for example, get very inspired by Oscar Peterson or Bill Evans. Of course, I do. But for example, from Bill Evans, I love to analyze what we said about the mathematical part. I do research. I do write his music, and I say, okay, what is the voicing? What is the chord that I want to apply? And I do copy and I do transpose that into my music. So the musicians and the composer, we are constantly researching and studying the masters and copying that and taking into us. So from Bill Evans, I'm taking the voicings, right, the textures, but Bill Evans was taking from Debussy, right, and Ravel. So it's why we don't go directly to the sources. So I go to Bill Evans, but I said, okay, let's go directly to Ravel. One of the biggest.
One of the things I like to do is sometimes I'll just take two measures of a famous composer's piece and I'll just turn it into something completely different, and just see where it goes in a totally different direction. And it's just fun to see the infinite possibilities of one idea and how they can be leveraged in so many different ways. By the way, you mentioned earlier this my drapes match is it the Catalonian flag? So
yeah, that is the Catalonian flag, and you have the rose as well.
That is rose right back there. Yes. I changed the drapes for every composer. Just
okay, I thought it was because that is the government. The Catalonian government has that flag and that rose.
I love it. I love it.
Parliament.
What would you like to play next? And maybe in one of the next pieces you play, you could kind of show us a little bit more about how you think about it.
Let's go to Barcelona. This is a tribute to my city, of course. And this is the composition got awarded in the women's contest and was performed at BBC. And I did the arrangement. We did the arrangement with one of my students, Camila Cortina, excellent arrangement. And it's going to be included in my album, my first album debut that we are recording in October. So this exactly arrangement. And I will show as well some of the writing process, how you build from a melody and then how you write the different instrumentation. This is for a whole symphony. I mean, the whole orchestra that we have.
las flores, andaba ahí una gitana llamada Gran Medalla, y al gurú, 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 al gurú, al gurú.
Okay, this part, okay, and then we are moving to the next part. This part starts more like a tangos, a 4/4, and then we move to a rumba, really up energetic here. Here we did a special arrangement for this show, so it's coming a dancer right now, and it's a solo between them. And then let me put from here when we are with all of them together in a upbeat.
Barcelona, que María se te pierda, porque tengo tu recuerdo aquí en el pecho latiendo.
Here, yes. So
Wow.
I would love, yeah, so I can show a little bit about that. But yes, so this attribute, so the last part is a rumba flamenca, but it's a rumba catalana. It's very specific of Catalonia. And the biggest, for some of the biggest representative was like a Rosario Flores from the familia of the Lola Flores, as well, so we have Perez, and for example, the opening for the Olympic Games in Barcelona, it was a lot of rumba catalana, right? And it's coming, of course, it's taken from flamenco, but it's taken from the Mediterranean side. It's based on like a boom, pa, pa, boom, pa, boom, pa, pa, boom, pa. And that is the beat, right? So we go a transition to the rumba after the dance and the apotheosis of the dance. So it's the beat. Boom, it's a 4/4, boom, ta, ta, boom, pa, boom, ta, ta, boom, pa, boom, pa, pa, boom, pa. So that is the main thing. And yes, so now this, yeah, so I can show, so you asked me, Andrew, that you would like to see a little bit of the score, right? Correct?
Yes, yeah, please.
So I'm going to share this with with all of you. So the process, for example, let me share with you. So here.
That was just such a wonderful high energy piece too. I can't imagine anyone in the audience falling asleep in the middle of that.
No, and also we finished with this piece and the people just, it was, and everybody dancing. So we had to do an encore, like at 10 minutes. I don't exaggerate. The encore, it was 10 minutes. Wow. And everybody on their feet. So I don't think I've ever seen Berklee Performance Center with that dynamic, right? So
it was wonderful.
It was everybody dancing and clapping, and they didn't want to stop. So it was just on the stage, we made a huge encore. It was a standing ovation and sold out. So we are looking forward to come back, right? And these are one of the pieces, of course, of the album. So let me share the score so you can see that part.
Well, by the way, people can go to Pérez-Collellmir.com, right, and see your pieces there. Is that true?
Yeah, of course. So this is Olivia. I will share with you the email, but it's Olivia Pérez-Collellmir that come correct, and then so that you can find all the music that is that, yeah. And because we cannot publish the songs are, you know, strictly confidential, the ones that we are reproduction from the album. So the album is going to be in the 2022 release.
Just have to wait till the album comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So here, okay, can you see? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is, for example, a process. Let me move from the beginning. So this is my piece, the one that just we listen now, Barcelona. So I did originally write for just a piano, a cello, a vocal, and a percussion, right? So how do you do that in a process that say, okay, the whole orchestration section? So this is the piece that we saw, the whole orchestra. But now for the album, we are going to, of course, we're not going to record with a symphonic orchestra size. So we are making like a reduction, right? So the reduction that we are choosing is, you know, the string quartets. So it will be cello, so cello soloist, there is a cello soloist, then string quartets, violin 1, violin 2, viola, and cello. That is a part of the string quartet reduction. Then we have one reduction of the winds. That's going to be the flute. Okay, and the alto is the singer. We call the alto. Okay, and then we put piano, of course, and then electric bass, because it needs to be, you know, very strong, that sound, very present, very ground. So we choose electric bass instead of acoustic bass, and then drum set, and of course cajon. Always we need cajon for this music that rooted in flamenco. And so here, the way that it starts, like the melody, I do start composing the melody.
I'm sorry, for those of us that don't know, what's a cajon? What is that?
Cajon is that box, that box that you sit on top of.
Oh, right, yes.
It's a good box, and it's typical. It was coming originally from Peru. It's a Peruvian cajon. But Paco de Lucia, the biggest, you know, guitarist, flamenco guitarist in the history, right? He was the person that took that cajon coming from the music heritage from Peru and decided to put it into the Spanish flamenco music. He was the first person. After Paco de Lucia, all the ensembles of cajon, of flamenco, they have as a mandatory is a cajon, is part of the ensemble, the color. That is box, the percussion box that has it's a very specific color. It's not exactly the Peruvian, has been changing a little bit the color. So the one that they have behind me, then we can see when we share in the screen. Okay, so here I start the melody. Let me annotate just one moment. Here I'm going to use the spotlight. So the melody, the way that I do start is writing the melody. The way that, you know, I inspire, I do write with the piano. Some composers, they prefer to write with the, you know, with a program like a Finale Sibelius with a computer or sequence. No, I in my case, I love to use paper, I love to use pencil, and I love to use the piano. So everything that comes at the beginning needs to start with a melody, always. You cannot start writing for a Stravinsky orchestration because it's going to be a mess. So it starts like something that's significant a lot, and it's a melody that is here, and it's coming with the chords. And then after that, when you have two lines for the piano, you can start distributing the orchestration side. So here is a melody, the one that was playing the cello. So I do open with the piano, and everybody else is muted, right? So it's you're building. You can start with all the instruments on the face, and the interpretation rubato here expressively, and then taking the cello. The cello's taking the lead. So it's dialogue between two instruments, piano and cello, right? So take exactly the same, and we write in the best register for the cello. The best register is in this octave. Sounds very cantabile, very expressivo. Okay, so when you write for orchestra, you need to be aware of what is the best sound for every instrument and what is the best register and what is the limit, the range that starts sounding not good or not comfortable. Okay, so here it's a solo moment for two instruments, so nothing else. I'm moving here. And here, on time, a tempo. Before it was everything, you know, rubato, freely, open. Now, when we have the whole orchestra, we have here, and then we start writing. So we don't have vocals, it's empty, we don't have flute yet, but we have the string quartets. Here, so what they are doing, they are doubling the same melody. They are doing the same in their specific key, right? This is G clef, F clef, and C3. So exactly the same. When you arrive here, what you are doing is filling the chord, right? So the specific chord that you have, this is the chord that you have, C minor 7. So you say, okay, I need the fifth, I need the, the E flat, right? The
Right.
minor third, I need the minor third, so they are doubling,
Yes.
but in different register, right? So the specific for the violin one. Then one octave down, we use a lot double instruments, but not the same octave, the same different octave, right? And then you kind of feel the chord, very important. The bass is still playing, okay, tom, pom, the groove, vale? Starting to make the groove. So the bass in this music is going to be doing this, ta, pam, pam, pam. This is the specific groove for the rhythm. So always when you write for the bass, you need to be very knowledgeable of the style, the groove specific that, they define that genre. The groove of the bass is going to be doing this almost all the piece, filling the chords in this shape, root, fifth, octave down. In this case, this movement is very powerful in this music. Octave down, octave down, octave down. So it means a lot, very power movement. Okay,
Yes.
piano is doing the melody now. Do, da, di, da, do. And then the harmony of my left hand, I don't play, or I play more free textures, more, colors, per colors. And who is holding me the harmony of my left hand? The string quartets. And the string quartets just filling the chord. So that is the decision you as orchestrator, as arranger, that you want to put the string quartets doing the melody. Okay, who's going to take the melody? Who's going to take the chords? And then just you split in 4 lines, and sometimes you double.
Going through. I think we have time for one more piece.
I can do Granada.
Okay.
So I think that, yes, perfect. So let's go to the Granada. Granada is a tribute for Granada City, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, as it is Barcelona, and of course it is Boston as well. And I did spend a research project there because I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but the only way to learn flamenco traditional is going to live with them. There is no way. There is no college. There is no conservatory. There is no academia that you can learn the flamenco, Rudy. So what I did, I lived there. I moved to Granada and I lived some like an immersion with, in that case, it was a gypsy family, right? So, I mean, a friend from Berklee that I moved into their house family. And then I said, and I contact with all the gypsies that they were there that kind of, they feel like they are the preservatives of, they are the preservation, right? Really, really the whole tradition of the flamenco. And I did learn everything by ear because they don't write music. They don't know music. They didn't know the scores. They don't know even the keys. So when I said, in which key do you play that? I don't know, what is that? I said, okay, play it. Oh, just listen to me. So it was completely challenging because it was like a putting two languages, right? Speaking in French and speaking in English, and neither of them. It was really challenging. And what they use for the position. So for example, for them, based on the guitar, they call in the middle position or up position, right? When it's in the middle is one key, is A for us. And when it's up is E. So they don't know that it's E or A or whatever, or Phrygian, but they play based on the position and the fret. So they are moving the fret. So that it was really challenging. And the cadencia andaluza, da, pam, 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 they don't know how to define. They don't know. They don't say dominant with a sharp 11 or major 7. ¿Qué es esto? No, me decía, no. So I had to put terminology in a traditional notation for us. What it wasn't, it was completely oral tradition, and that it was very, very challenging and very fascinating. So it's one of the research that I've been doing, and I've been leading at Berklee, making scores and writing that oral tradition into notation. And that is Granada is a tribute that. So you're going to see the traditional flamenco there, the singer, what we call cantaor. Cantaor is the flamenco singer. Cantaor if it's a male. Cantaora if it's a female, and bailaora, the dancer, and then the music, the rest of the band. And the arranger, what you said, Andrew, that what's happening with the arranger orchestration, the orchestrator that I did invited in the song is from Greece. So you're going to listen the orchestrated sounds really Greece, beautiful sound, or that feels like you are in the island, the Greece island, the Greek island.
I love
So
it.
it's a combination between flamenco and Greek island, and it's my composition. So it's like a whole combination. So let me go to that sharing. Yeah. So let's go to the Granada. Okay, and of course, in this song, guitar, Spanish guitar for sure. Pure flamenco. Okay, this is the part with the orchestration that sounds like a Greek color because it's orchestrated by composer Panos, one of the biggest composer and orchestrator that we have international as well as a professor at Berklee. So that, and then with a Spanish guitarist, especially coming from New York. And then we are going to the deep profound, like a flamenco traditional solo moment into cantador and bailador.
Si no quiso el agua, si no quiso el agua era negra, hay dentro de la rana. Cuando llega al puente se detiene y cae. ¿Quién dirá mi niño, ay lo que tiene el agua? Con su larga cola, con su verde ala. Dormió se queda. Leña de la que van a cuidar de los huesos que desato como te quiero. Cuida los huesos que desato como te quiero. La calle Alfarería. Calle Alfarería.
So here it is.
Ole.
Ole! So it was, now that we were saying about the oral tradition and how the flamenco language is completely different, or it's, in another standards, so different that the tradition and notation, that I had to conduct for the flamenco players in a different way than for the classical orchestra. They were giving the cue to the conductor of the classical orchestra in one beat different than the cue that they was giving to the flamenco.
Really? Wow.
So they are not in the same measure. They were completely different measures. So I had to be conductor.
Wow. By the way, you have some great comments here. Someone says, what a delightful musician, a fantastic presentation. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Someone else here says, wonderful to see and hear how it all comes together. So beautiful. Thank you. Can't wait for the debut album. Amazing job, Olivia. We're at the end of the hour.
Well, thank you. Thank you all again so much. And thank you, Olivia, for just sharing your hour with us, actually almost an hour and a half. And it was really a pleasure. And you
Thank you so
certainly
much.
made our evening.
Such an honor and pleasure, and I had so much fun. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Our pleasure. You have a great night, and we look forward to your CD.
Yes. Adios, everybody.
Adios. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Adios. Bye.